Hello, friend. Thank you for being here. I want to share something with you today, a story that lives quietly in my heart. It's about love that grew in the most unexpected place, about late nights that changed everything, and about hope that refused to die even when everything fell apart. This is my story. Please sit with me for a while. Let me tell you about the person who taught me what it means to truly love someone. The first time I noticed him, really noticed him, was on a Tuesday night around 8 o'clock. Most people had already gone home. The office was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the distant sound of traffic outside. I was sitting at my desk staring at spreadsheets that all looked the same when I heard footsteps. He walked past my cubicle with a coffee mug in his hand and gave me a small, tired smile. "Still here?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah, big project due tomorrow." He nodded back like he understood, like he was in the same boat, and then he disappeared into his corner of the office. That was it, nothing special, just two tired people working late. But somehow that moment stuck with me. Maybe it was the kindness in his smile. Maybe it was the way he didn't judge me for still being there. Maybe it was just the beginning of something I didn't see coming. After that night, I started noticing him more. His name was Daniel. He worked in a different department, so our paths didn't cross much during the day. But at night, when everyone else went home to their families and their lives, we were both still there. Week after week, I'd look up from my computer and see his light still on across the office. Sometimes I'd walk to the break room for coffee and find him there, looking just as exhausted as I felt. We'd exchange small talk. Long day. "Yeah, you too." Always. Simple words. Nothing deep. But there was something comforting about knowing I wasn't alone. The office felt less lonely when he was there. Then one night everything changed. It was almost 10 o'clock. I'd been working for 12 hours straight and my eyes were burning. I walked to the break room to make another cup of coffee, even though I knew I probably shouldn't. That's when I found him sitting at the small table in the corner, his head in his hands, looking completely defeated. "Hey," I said softly, "you okay?" He looked up, and I could see the stress written all over his face. "Just one of those days," he said. "Actually, one of those months." I poured my coffee, and instead of going back to my desk like I usually did, I sat down across from him. "Want to talk about it?" I asked. He hesitated, then started telling me about his project, about the impossible deadlines, about feeling like nothing he did was ever good enough. I listened, really listened, and when he finished, I shared my own frustrations. We sat there for almost an hour, two strangers becoming something more than that, connected by our tiredness and our honesty. When we finally went back to our desks, something had shifted. We weren't just two people working late anymore. We were two people who understood each other. After that night, working late became different, better. We started timing our coffee breaks so we'd run into each other. We'd sit in the break room and talk about everything: our jobs, our dreams, our families, our favorite movies, the places we wanted to travel someday. He told me about growing up by the ocean and how he missed the sound of waves. I told him about my little apartment and my cat, who always knocked things off the counter. We laughed about the ridiculous emails our boss sent and the office politics we both hated. Sometimes we didn't talk at all. We'd just sit there in comfortable silence, drinking our coffee, grateful for the company. The office, which used to feel like a prison after dark, started to feel like a sanctuary, our sanctuary. Weeks turned into months. The late nights continued, but I stopped minding them. In fact, I started looking forward to them. I'd catch myself watching the clock during the day, waiting for everyone else to leave so it could just be us. I'd put on a little extra effort with my appearance, telling myself it didn't mean anything. I'd bring 2 cookies from the bakery near my apartment, pretending I'd accidentally bought too many, knowing I'd share one with him. We developed little routines. At 9 o'clock, we'd meet in the break room. At 10, we'd take a walk around the office floor to stretch our legs. At 11, if we were both still there, we'd order takeout and eat together in the conference room, spreading papers across the table like we were having a strange kind of dinner date. He always asked what I wanted to eat. I always said I didn't care, but secretly I loved that he remembered I didn't like onions and that I preferred tea to soda. I think I started falling in love with him during one of those late-night dinners. We were eating Chinese food straight from the containers, laughing about something silly, when he suddenly got quiet. "Can I tell you something?" he asked. His voice was soft, almost nervous. "Of course," I said. He looked at me with these eyes that seemed to see right through me. "These late nights," he said, "they're my favorite part of the day, because of you." My heart stopped. Everything stopped. Mine too. I whispered. And right there, in that boring conference room with fluorescent lights and cheap takeout, something beautiful happened. We didn't kiss. We didn't even touch. But we looked at each other and knew, we both knew. After that confession, things got both easier and harder. Easier because we didn't have to pretend anymore. Harder because we still didn't know what we were doing. Were we dating? Were we just friends who had feelings for each other? We never put a label on it. During the day, we stayed professional. We'd pass each other in the hallway and nod politely like acquaintances. But at night, when the office emptied out, we'd find each other again. We'd hold hands under the table in the break room. He'd brush my hair behind my ear when I was too focused on my computer screen. I'd leave little notes on his desk, silly drawings, encouraging words, reminders that someone cared. We existed in this strange, beautiful in-between space where everything felt possible and nothing was guaranteed. One night, he walked me to my car. It was past midnight, and the parking lot was empty except for our two vehicles sitting under the yellow streetlights. "Be safe," he said, like he always did, but this time he didn't let go of my hand. "Wait," he said. He stepped closer, so close I could feel the warmth of him. "I need you to know something." My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might break through my chest. "What?" I asked. "I'm in love with you," he said. Simple words, clear words, true words. "I know we haven't figured everything out yet. I know this is complicated, but I needed you to know. I'm completely in love with you." Tears filled my eyes. "Happy tears. I'm in love with you too," I said. And then, finally, he kissed me. Right there in the empty parking lot at midnight. He kissed me like I was the only person in the world, and in that moment I was. We both were. Everything felt perfect after that. We still worked late, but now those nights felt like stolen moments of happiness. We'd sit close together, our shoulders touching, working on our separate projects, but together in the way that mattered. He'd bring me flowers, nothing fancy, just grocery store bouquets, and leave them on my desk with little cards that said things like "Thank you for staying," or "You make everything better." I'd bake him cookies and brownies, figuring out which recipes he liked best. We started making plans, real plans. He wanted to take me to the ocean, to show me the beach where he grew up. I wanted to introduce him to my family. We talked about the future carefully, like it was something fragile and precious. Maybe someday, we'd say, maybe when work calms down. We were building something beautiful, brick by brick, late night by late night. But life doesn't always let you keep the things you love. 3 months after he first told me he loved me, Daniel came to my desk during the day. Not at night like usual, during the busy afternoon when everyone was around. I knew immediately something was wrong. His face looked pale, worried. "Can we talk?" he asked, outside. We went to the stairwell where no one could hear us. "What's wrong?" I asked, fear already creeping into my chest. He took a deep breath. "I got a job offer," he said. My stomach dropped, a really good one, the kind of opportunity I've been working toward my whole career. I tried to smile, tried to be happy for him, even though I could feel my heart starting to crack. "That's amazing," I said. "Where?" He looked at me with eyes full of pain. "Seattle. Seattle, across the country." 1,000 miles away. When? I whispered. "They want me to start in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, that was all we had left. 3 more weeks of late nights and stolen moments and pretending the world couldn't touch us." Those last 3 weeks were the hardest of my life. We tried to act normal, tried to enjoy the time we had left, but everything was different now. There was a countdown hanging over us, ticking away the minutes. We still worked late together, but now there was sadness mixed with the joy. We'd hold each other in the empty conference room and try not to cry. "Come with me," he said one night. We both knew it was impossible. I had my own career here, my own responsibilities, my family nearby, and his opportunity was something he'd worked years for. I couldn't ask him to give it up. "I can't," I said, tears streaming down my face. "I know," he said, "I know. I just wish everything was different. We talked about trying long distance. We promised we'd make it work. We made plans to visit each other. But underneath all those promises, we both felt the fear. What if distance was too much? What if we couldn't survive it?" His last day at the office was a Friday. Everyone threw him a little party in the break room, the same break room where we'd fallen in love. I stood in the back, watching him smile and thank people and accept well wishes, and I felt like I was watching my heart walk away. That night, after everyone left, we stayed late one final time. We didn't even pretend to work. We just sat together in the conference room, holding hands, memorizing each other. "I don't know how to say goodbye to you," I said. "Then don't," he said. "This isn't goodbye, it's just see you later." But it felt like goodbye. It felt like the end of something precious and irreplaceable. At midnight, we walked to the parking lot together. He held me so tight I could barely breathe. "I love you," he whispered against my hair. "I love you so much it hurts." "I love you too," I said, and then he got in his car and drove away, and I stood there in the empty parking lot under the yellow lights, feeling more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. The office felt dead after he left. I still stayed late sometimes, but it wasn't the same. The break room was just a break room. The conference room was just a conference room. Without him, they were nothing special. We texted every day at first, long messages full of "I miss you" and "I wish you were here." We video called when we could, staying up late to talk across time zones, but slowly, inevitably, things got harder. He was busy with his new job, meeting new people, building a new life. I was still here, stuck in the same office, surrounded by memories of him. Our calls got shorter, our texts got less frequent. We were drifting apart, and I didn't know how to stop it. I'd lie awake at night, staring at my phone, wondering if he was thinking about me, or if he'd already started to forget. 2 months after he left, I hit my breaking point. It was a Tuesday night, the same night of the week when I'd first really noticed him. I was working late, drowning in spreadsheets, and I realized I was crying. Just sitting there at my desk, tears rolling down my face, missing him so much I felt physically sick. I picked up my phone and called him, not caring that it was late, not caring about anything except hearing his voice. "Hey," he answered. He sounded surprised. "Is everything okay?" "No," I said honestly. "Nothing's okay. I miss you. I miss us. I miss working late together and talking about nothing and everything. I miss you so much I can't breathe." There was silence on the other end. Then I heard him take a shaky breath. "I miss you too," he said, "every single day, every single minute." "What are we doing?" I asked. "Why are we torturing ourselves like this? Maybe we should just don't," he interrupted. "Don't say it, please." "But this hurts," I said. "Loving you from this far away hurts." "I know," he said. His voice was breaking, but giving up would hurt more. "At least this way, there's hope." Hope. That word stuck with me. In the days and weeks that followed, I held on to it like a lifeline. Hope that somehow, someday, things would work out. Hope that distance wasn't stronger than love. Hope that the universe hadn't brought us together just to tear us apart. I threw myself into work. I spent time with friends and family. I tried to build a life that didn't revolve around missing him. But every night, before I went to sleep, I'd text him. Sometimes just 3 words, "thinking of you." Sometimes longer messages about my day. And he'd always respond, always. Even when days passed between our real conversations, those little messages kept us connected. They were our new late nights together. Different, harder, but still ours. 6 months after he left, something unexpected happened. I got a call from an old colleague who'd moved to a company in Seattle. "We have an opening," she said. "I immediately thought of you. Are you interested?" Seattle. His city, the place where he'd built his new life. My hands were shaking as I listened to her describe the position. It was a good job, a promotion, actually. Better pay, better opportunities, but that wasn't why my heart was racing. I told her I'd think about it. Then I sat at my desk, the same desk where I'd spent so many late nights falling in love, and I made a decision. I called him. "Hey," I said when he answered, "I need to tell you something." "What's wrong?" he asked immediately. "Nothing's wrong," I said. "Actually, something might be very right. I got a job offer in Seattle." I heard him gasp. "What?" "I haven't accepted it yet," I said quickly. "I'm not doing this just for you. It's a good opportunity on its own. But I need to know. If I come there, if I take this chance, will you be there? Are we really going to try this?" "Yes," he said immediately. No hesitation. "Yes, 1,000 times yes. I never stopped waiting for you. I never stopped hoping." 2 months later, I moved to Seattle. I packed up my life, said goodbye to my apartment and my city, and drove across the country toward hope. Toward him, toward the possibility of us. He met me at my new apartment building, and when I saw him standing there, waiting for me, I started crying. Happy tears this time. He ran to me and picked me up and spun me around right there on the sidewalk. "You're here," he kept saying. "You're really here." "I'm here," I said, and I was, finally. We didn't rush into anything. I settled into my new job, my new city, my new life. We went on real dates, restaurants and movies and walks by the water. He took me to his childhood beach like he'd promised. We held hands in the sand and watched the sunset, and it was everything I'd dreamed it would be. We built a relationship that wasn't just about late nights and stolen moments. We built something real and solid and strong, but we also kept our tradition. Once a week, we'd stay late at our respective offices and then meet up after, just like old times. We'd get coffee and talk about our days and remember where we came from. Those late nights had brought us together. We never wanted to forget that. A year after I moved to Seattle, Daniel took me back to the beach. We walked along the shore as the sun set, painting the sky pink and gold. "I want to ask you something," he said. He stopped walking and turned to face me. My heart started pounding. "When I was working late all those nights, back in that old office, I never imagined I'd find something like this. Someone like you. You changed my entire life." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. "I don't want to work late without you ever again. I don't want to do anything without you. Will you marry me?" I couldn't even speak. I just nodded, tears streaming down my face, and he slipped the ring onto my finger. "Yes," I finally managed to say. "Yes, forever yes." We got married on a Tuesday evening, the same day of the week when our story began. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends, but it was perfect. During our vows, he mentioned those late nights. "You made me look forward to staying at the office," he said, making everyone laugh. "You turned the worst part of my day into the best part of my life." I promised to always be his partner, in late nights and early mornings, in hard times and good times, in everything. After the ceremony, we went back to his apartment, our apartment now, and ordered Chinese food just like we used to. We sat on the floor, eating straight from the containers, laughing about how far we'd come. "Remember when we thought it was over?" I asked. "When you moved here and we didn't know if we'd make it." "I always knew we'd make it," he said. "Even when it hurt, even when it seemed impossible, I knew. Some things are just meant to be." He kissed me, and I tasted soy sauce, and forever. Now, years later, I sometimes think about that old office. About the late nights that changed everything. About how love found me in the most unexpected place, during the most ordinary moments. People always say love is supposed to be this big, dramatic thing. But ours wasn't like that. Ours grew quietly, in comfortable silence and shared coffee and understanding glances. It grew in the space between exhaustion and hope. It survived distance and doubt and fear. And it became the greatest thing in my life. We still work late sometimes, not as often, we've learned better balance now, but occasionally we'll both have big projects and we'll stay up together, working side by side at our kitchen table. And every time I look at him and remember that Tuesday night when I first really saw him, when two tired people became two people who understood each other, when late nights became love, we built a whole life from those moments. A home, a marriage, a future, all because we worked late together. Thank you for listening to my story, friend. Thank you for sitting with me through the late nights and the heartbreak and the hope. I hope it reminded you that love can find us anywhere, even in the places we least expect. Even in fluorescent, lit offices and empty parking lots, and across impossible distances. I hope it reminded you to hold on when things get hard, because sometimes the best things in life are worth fighting for. And I hope it reminded you that every ending can be a beginning if we're brave enough to believe in hope. Take care of your heart, friend, and remember, the greatest love stories often start in the most ordinary moments. Maybe yours is waiting for you too in a late night, in a quiet conversation, in the space between hello and forever. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Until we meet again, I wish you love, I wish you hope, and I wish you your own beautiful story.